What's going on, guys? Welcome to the first installment of What They Could Have Done Better, the video channel that I'm not channel, but the videos where I'm going to be shooting how some of these terrible movies that me and plenty of other people have rated as being bad could have been better or even great. And to just start things off, since it's 2017, and one of the last movies that I saw that sucked really, really bad was Transformers The Last Night. And now in this video, we're going to jump on that. Now, Transformers The Last Night is the fifth installment of the Transformers film series. And in this movie, Optimus ends up finding out these quote-unquote makers of the Cybertronians, and then just a whole bunch of stuff just kind of happens. Now, I, for the most part, found the movie to be entertaining, but there were just so many elements about it that were just crap. And as we said, we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about what they could have done better with this movie. Now, the movie does feature Optimus and the new antagonist, this mechanical sorceress named Quintessa, who kind of looks like a Cybertronian, so I don't see how. And plus, in part 4, they kind of made Cybertronians look more, organic. But for one thing that the movie did wrong with those characters is the main protagonists of the series and the main antagonists of this movie weren't really in the movie. And it would have been nice to actually see them in the movie. Now, when Optimus ends up going and finding Quintessa, she ends up basically taking over his mind and turning him evil. It would have been nice as a point, the first point, to actually have Optimus be the main antagonistic force behind what was going on in this film as a subject of Quintessa. Now, in the movie, there was the human faction that were hunting down the Transformers. There was also the Decepticon faction, which was led by Megatron. And had they taken both of those components out and actually put Optimus there as the main antagonistic force, that would have made for a more compelling and actually a pretty cool movie. You see Optimus Prime taking on the Autobots, and this dilemma that everybody has to deal with, do we destroy Optimus because he is evil, but he is the champion of good, as well as, okay, he is a credible threat now, so we have to kill him. That would have made for a more compelling story. The second thing that could be said, no, I'm not even going to go with that. Also, having said that, it would be nice for them to actually elaborate a little bit more with Quintessa's character. Even if it was just through exposition with Optimus Prime, it would have been nice to know who this character was. If she is, quote-unquote, the maker of the Cybertronian race, where has she been this whole time? Where are the others? What does she plan to do with Cybertron? And you see that in the movie, Cybertron is trying to, absorb Earth or absorb Earth's resources, and it would be nice to see, had she done that before, we actually kind of see what the process is, a finished process. But in this movie, we don't even know how that process was going to start. What is it? It's going to be like Dragon Ball Z and a tree of might, where the tree is sucking up all the water and the nutrients and all of that stuff everywhere, blocking the sunlight from touching the earth. There is that component. The main antagonists of the movie weren't in the freaking movie. And especially, let's address the part where Optimus has this, in the movie, he, gets his right mind back, gains control again, and he feels just downtrodden. He feels defeated. You can see now that it's okay, Quintessa did pull one over. Optimus did kind of doom the world. But in actuality, did Optimus actually doom the world? If you think about it, he didn't do anything. All he did was what? I can understand he killed 2 of those ancient Cybertronian night guys, and he took the scepter and he fought Bumblebee, and that's pretty much it. One could argue that he did lead her to Earth, but apparently she was already headed to Earth. So what was it that Optimus Prime did that was that bad? So, as I said before, it'd been nice to actually see his character, as well as the other main protagonists, have to deal with him being bad, like the repercussions of his actions. Should they kill him? Should they not kill him? I would like to see that, and it'd be nice to, and that would have also helped on so many other aspects of the movie. And here goes point two of what I wanted to say. Actually, as far as the Autobots and the Decepticons, they really don't have much to do in the movie. I mean, each scene they had like maybe one or two big scenes, but outside of that, there was nothing really to their characters. I mean, and again, they did put a really good emphasis on Bumblebee's character, which I did like. Everybody loves Bumblebee, but you can't have all these other characters and then have them not do something. I mean, at the end of the movie, they kind of came in, but it's like for all the sequence of events that was going on in the freaking movie, it would be kind of nice to actually see those characters kind of contribute to that, or possibly having their own side mission. Now, there was the little girl, I'm trying to remember what her, Isabella and Squeaks. And this is why I kind of want to push where their characters, interesting characters. I like the characters. I like the idea of their backstory, that was introduced in the movie. And as I said, the fact that these Autobots did not do much in the movie took away from her developing as a character, as well as growing with this family unit of Cybertronians. And I would have liked to have seen that, but the fact that the movie didn't really do much when it came to them. I mean, in the movie, the two main characters as well as Bumblebee are looking for this scepter, so that way they could try to save the world. Well, there should have been something else going on with the other Autobots. I mean, what they do, they found a ship. That was pretty much all they did for the rest of the movie. There should have been something else. Maybe that was a component to the scepter that they needed, that they could have split up and went and got it. Maybe they could have been trying to, I don't know, reason with humanity to help them help them succeed in their efforts. Maybe they should have actually went up against the human faction that was actually hunting the Transformers and actually tried to broker peace. So that way, there's a bigger element that's coming. There's a bigger threat that's coming. We should kind of tackle this together. And I think that's one way they could have actually, made those characters stand out a bit more. Because like Optimus Prime and Quintessa, they aren't in the movie for majority of the movie. And they don't really do anything. For the third point that I wanted to elaborate on as far as this movie being a better movie is possibly the order, the King Arthur's order with the Knights in the Round Table, as far as Anthony Hopkins' role in the movie. What they could have done better to implement that is actually kind of went back and kind of tied this movie with all of the rest of the movies, because if you think about it, Sector 7 was in the first movie. They knew about the Transformers. It would have been nice for Sector 7 to have been funded by this King Arthur's Court organization, or whatever the hell they're called, to help keep the Transformers off the map. That way they could have tied the first movie with the fifth movie. It made sense. They would say, hey, it was unfortunate that Megatron escaped, make reference to the first movie, which they did not. In the first Sector 7 movie, it seemed like they didn't know what Transformers were, and they were trying to study it. But in this movie, they've been known that Transformers were here. So can you kind of see what's going on? If they would have had actually implemented to where it's like, okay, we knew about Sector 7, we funded Sector 7, we told the government about the Autobots and the Cybertronians and everything. We will handle this situation. It'd have been kind of cool to see Sector 7 as being like this kind of main ground force, while kind of like SHIELD a little bit, yeah, they would have been Shield, and then of course Shield answers to superiors. It would have been nice for these guys to be the superiors. That way, when it came to like the technology, knowledge, different characters, they would have had all that down pat. Would have made sense. Also, when it came to reference of the Fallen, they could have referenced the Falling in the movie. They could have referenced, that canon thing in the second movie that was going to knock out the sun. They could have referenced that. They could have referenced Sentinel Prime and the Dark of the Moon. Them being responsible for kind of with the whole Dark of the Moon thing. Them being responsible for not wanting that spaceship to be shown. Like that could have been their thing. Also, with the fourth movie, that could have been. Well, I can't really think nothing about the fourth movie. I got nothing on the fourth one. You could say they were talking with like Stanley Tucci's character about the technology that he was developing or something like that. Maybe he was trying to take it a step further, and they were like making efforts to combat that, or when it came to like lockdown and being mercenaries and the Dinobots and stuff like that. That's one big missed opportunity I said that they could have did with this movie, which I wish they had done. Referenced all of the events of the other movies and catalog it as if they were actually there. So it would made the whole order and everything even more plausible in the overall story. Which the Transformers movies, again, they always feel like they're standalone movies and not actually any sequels. Because a lot of times stuff that happened in the original movie is not referenced. Really, the only thing that's referenced again is like the characters. As far and another aspect that could have made this movie better is the whole I can't remember the whole planet thing with the spikes and all that. That should have not been in this movie at all. It's number 4. That should not have been in this movie. They should have just let that slide. Maybe, the Cybertron did grew the spikes and tried to bite into the planet or something. That would have made more sense. But Earth to have already had this stuff there. Now, it was one part where I thought was kind of cool. And that was the part where Anthony Hopkins' character was trying to figure out like why the spikes were all in the position that they were all in. But then they had said that since the continents, separated, it shifted the shape when in actuality it was in one circle. So I thought, honestly, that was pretty cool and it was pretty smart and pretty clever. But as far as that Unicron, yeah, that's what it's called, Unicron, and Earth being Unicron, and okay, that's been a little bit too far-fetched. Especially with the way technology is, they would have been detected that stuff, I'm assuming. Because those were massive things. There's like really no way they could have not detected that stuff in the Earth and all that. But I'm like, okay, maybe they should not have introduced Unicron into this movie. I would even felt it better if Cybertron would have transformed into Unicron through Quintessa's mechanizations. I would have bought that better. But the whole Unicron being Earth thing. Another thing I think would have also, 2 more points I would like to point out that would have made this movie a hell of a lot better, is the point with, again, Isabella and Squeaks. I would have liked to actually seen their story as they attempted to, evade whatever that faction of guys were that were hunting the Transformers, the TRF. That's what it was. I'm sorry about that. The TRF. That way you can see more of how she has to struggle to live, especially with Squeaks on her hip. Like, I would have liked to seen that. And if Megatron would have been introduced into the movie, I can see how, and they should have had to where Isabella joined the Megatron's crew. You would understand why, because these dudes were hunting her and her friends, killed one of her friends, and you can see that she's mad at these guys, so she ends up being tricked by Megatron through hatred of these douchebags to help development where you realize, okay, not all humans are bad. It was just these guys. And even though I put the world in jeopardy due to my revenge, I would like to help save it. I would have liked to have seen that. That would have been a far stronger storyline than what she got. And the last point I would like to make is I would have liked to seen Cade be reunited with his daughter. I would have loved to have seen that. And for them to introduce it in this movie and it didn't happen. Like, they don't even show scene where she's like looking up into the sky. She's Cybertron and she tries to call her dad, or she's praying for him or something like that. That would have helped brought more emotional attachment to the character of Cade Yeager. Like, I like the guy already. The guy's pretty cool. He's not like a douchebag. He's not overconfident. He's not like this clumsy, dude. And I even liked his relationship with Vivian. I did love their story as they kind of, her being the chosen one, I guess, and him being the protector. Like, I like that, and I like how their relationship that did grow throughout the film. And as I said, it would have been really nice to see that exposition on Cade's character. And even though they tried to ship it to Isabella, they did a poor job doing that, even though she was a pretty interesting character in my eyes. But I would have liked to see him been reunited with his daughter. And you get it was like in the movie, that part was no closure. It was no closure. And that's what they should have done at least. And that's the least they could have did for that character. Even though they gave him a romantic attachment, even though they did pick him up a sidekick, because that black dude, I did not like him. All he did was scream and he complained. I could not stand. I wished he died, and that was one of the biggest regrets in the movie. In fact, I'm gonna make that a point. That black dude that was screaming all the time and yelling and all that should have died. He should have died a very explosive death. He was one of the most I'm gonna say it ain't annoying. It's annoying characters. But yes, I would have liked to seen that closure with him and his daughter. That would have been a good, nice, emotional storyline to help make this movie feel more engaging. And I would even say to this point, if they would have took out Isabella's character and brought back his daughter, and it actually showed how she has to deal with her father being on the run, that would have made for a very compelling and awesome story as well. So, all right then, guys. Y'all got my thoughts on this first episode, what they could have done better, and I was talking about Transformers the last night. This movie had so much freaking potential, and you know what? Hold on a minute. I just thought about something else I did not even think about. Those Knights of the Round Table, those Transformers that transformed into Dragon Storm, where the hell was the exposition on those characters? What the hell were they? Like, those had to been literally the weakest characters of this movie. They were in the movie, they didn't say nothing, they didn't do nothing, and the only meaningful thing that they even remotely thought was going to happen was they was going to kill Optimus because he turned evil, in which case he really didn't do anything. Like, if they would have gave some exposition on them, maybe perhaps had them talk to Cade and they get a little bit more history about Quintessa, which that could have been a very awesome way to give exposition on that character and how they end up coming to be on Earth. Like, I can't believe I almost forgot to include that in this. But, the whole exposition on them should have been it should have been there, but it wasn't, unfortunately. Now I'm going to call it. Well, thank you guys for joining me. First episode of What They Could Have Done Better. Tell me in the comment section below, what did you think about my points? Which ones did you like? Which ones you didn't like? Also, let me know some that I end up missing, because I'm going to hit the major points, but I'm not going to hit everything due to the, I'm not trying to be overly with the time limit. But that's all right. Also, hit the like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of this channel. And catch you guys later. There, Chase, signing.